A new sheriff is in town, or king, we should say. This isn't the B1, or the B1 Max, or even the B1 Max Plus. This is the B1 Max Plus Color, and on paper, it doesn't get any better than this. This unit collectively has the highest specs of any e-paper device ever. It has the largest Kaleido Plus note-taking screen in the world at 10.3 inches, the latest possible version of Android on e-paper, Android 11, 4 microphones, stereo speakers, and even comes with free 4G internet on board that works in select countries. With 128 gigs onboard storage, 6 gigs of RAM, and a quad-core 2.3 GHz processor, 3 speed modes, and USB-C, there isn't anything you can't do. Bigme is also the only company out of all 7 manufacturers who make color e-ink right now to be able to crack the 100 ppi restriction and bump the color resolution to 117 ppi. Their pen is incredibly unique as well. Although you can use any Wacom pen on the market on this unit, they bundled together the A3 pen, which is actually a very high quality pen that connects via optional Bluetooth with USB charging for physical page turn buttons. As a bonus, the pen does not need to be charged in order to use on the device. So let's dive in, starting with the UI. The UI is laid out extremely well, and it's really easy to understand. You get your little floating ball here, which you can turn off obviously. You do have your isolated screen in the middle, and everything on the left and the top will stay there throughout the entire device unless you go to apps. You do have a drop down. You can either swipe down or you can press the little gear, and here you get Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all your modes, your volume, your glow light, which we'll show you a little bit later, and you can clear the cache and speed the unit up. You can go to more settings as well, in which case you'll have 4G options for select networks, you have Bluetooth, Smart Pen connection, and your language settings. You only have 3 languages right now, but they are going to add more in the future. You have date and time, sleep settings, system update, and you have a bunch of other things that are pretty synonymous with Android devices in general. On the left, you have your meeting records, your notes, your task list, offline books, office documents, local storage, cloud file, and voice translation. Everything's going to be on the left, and when you click on something, it's going to change what you see here. For example, our notes. You can click on the little boxes right there, and that'll take you over to the app screen. You have something very weird on this device that no other device really does, period, ever. If you're on the main menu, and you might want to show someone something on here, you can actually turn on global handwriting, in which case it prioritizes and forces to the surface a very, very top level of access, which means if I turn that on and I go to any color pen, we'll just keep it easy with black, I can now write via pen, pencil, or brush all over the entire screen. I can say go here, don't forget to download, and forget about voice translation. I can just write over everything, and then it saves that as a screenshot to the device itself. This is really good for bypassing places that you can't normally take notes on. When it comes to reading, it's pretty much the exact same as anything else on the industry. In fact, it's not as good of a black and white experience because it's using a color screen, and the background naturally has a little bit of a grayish tone to it. But the beauty is you can start writing on EPUBs right away, and you can even utilize the palette. So you can change colors like so with the pen on hand, and still not taking away from any of the long presses you can do with highlights, annotations, notes, and anything else you'd expect from an ebook experience. Down below there are tons of ways to change the font. You can do font family, font size, typesetting, contrast, and picture contrast, in which it will actually take the text elements and the picture elements, isolate them so you can change the contrast respectively. In terms of large screen color e-ink, you really don't have any options other than other Bigme devices. The Carve Color, the B1 Pro Plus, etc. This is just about as good as you're gonna get with a 10.3-inch color device. It's not going to look any better than this. This is Kaleido 2. This is the highest 117 ppi, cracking the 100 ppi limit for the first time ever. You can tap the center, you can get all the color palette, you can do refresh, you can do eraser, you can choose different colors, different pens, and you can start writing on the device itself. You can also utilize the different modes, which we'll show you a little bit later, of course, when we get into videos, in order to change from HD, normal, and speed. It'll change the quality of the image respectively, but it will speed up the device or slow it down. Although the screen size is actually technically bigger than traditional manga at 10.3, when manga is more at the 7.8, 6.8 kind of range, this looks phenomenal, especially in color. This is going to shine with larger screen kind of graphic novel kind of things, because traditionally comics are in that A5, A4 kind of screen size, at least to the North American market. This is so crisp, so nice looking, so vivid, and this is all just shining through on this large screen. Traditionally, larger screens have a little bit less density because they're getting bigger. As you go bigger, the density kind of disperses, and the smaller screens have that more dense, more tight kind of feel. This has no compromise when it comes to PDFs and manga. This looks so good. I'm so happy with the actual color vibrancy, the vividness, nothing staining on the screen. It's an absolute joy to look at this. We've said it a few times, but 10.3-inch color came out with Bigme 2020 December, and ever since then, for about a year and a half, Bigme's the only guys doing it, with the Pro Plus, the Carve Color, the B1 Max Plus Color, which you see in front of you, and a couple other color iterations. But Bigme is simply the only brand in the color game anything higher than 7.8-inch screens. So these guys cornered the market, and they do it well. The higher PPI, whilst in color, really makes all the difference. This is a very vivid experience. Granted, there is a lot of things in front of your eyes in the viewable surface. It's not as short of a screen stack as, say, the Nova Air Color that just came out using EINK Kaleido's on-cell technology, and it's most definitely not as small of a stack as the InkPad Color by Pocketbook, but this is as good as you can get on large screen, and the beauty is that it's here right now in an actual consumer available form. The colors are vibrant. E-Ink has individual pocket cells. It's not all slurring together like a DES screen. That means you have crisp, concise lines, isolated pixels. It looks phenomenal. It looks exactly the way it should be, and in terms of E-Ink Color, ever since its emergence in 2009, this is the best. Note-taking is where you're going to spend the bulk of your time on this unit. Why? Because you have 16 different colors. This is a lot of colors. There's no device that gives you this many colors, aside from Onyx products, and of course the Re-Ink Stone, which by all intents is not a real device. You also have shapes, so you can click on shapes. You can do line, rectangles, squares, circles, ovals, and triangles. Once you click on triangle, you can simply place it, plomp it, and you can change what type of triangle: right angle, isosceles, equilateral, etc. This unit is also very capable of doing handwriting recognition or transfer text. And why it's really cool is because what it does is it actually goes through not only the page in question, but the entire book, your entire notepad, and translate everything. So you can see right here, everything we've written on page 1 got translated, on this page as well, the hello we wrote, and Peter. You have a ton of different templates as well: Mizi grid, mats, small squares, Cornell notes. You can even go and make your own music scores. Why this is useful is because you no longer need to get a music driven device. You can actually just go like this and make your own sonata using any template on any Bigme device. Basically, you don't have to use this one specifically, but it's very, very good because everything is all under one roof. Instead of you having to buy multiple devices, you can get an all-in-one. In In terms of applications, you don't have Google Play. Now, really, technically, no major manufacturer officially has Google Play without GSFID workarounds and weird kind of things you do in the back door to make it work. Although you do have the ability to package install on this, and what that means is you can go to the browser and you can install via the browser itself without having to go to any app market. Because of the microphone setup, this unit is extremely accurate at dictation. This device has to be one of the best dictation devices we've ever seen in the EINK world. Why that is because they have 4 microphones up top. So you'll notice that even though we didn't say comma, it put a comma right where we needed it, and it put a period at the end without us saying period. And unlike Google, where you actually have to say those things, for example, comma, I have to say comma every time I want to add a comma, period. The Bigme picks it up automatically, and because you have 4 different microphones, it has a very high level of accuracy when it comes to inflection, the tone of your voice, when you're stopping, when you're starting, and it's one of the best dictations ever across any devices we've used. It's so accurate that it picks up on things that you don't even really need to tell it. The amount of AI this thing uses is phenomenal. Opinions aside, both on paper and in the real world, this unit is an absolute giant. It is fully loaded head to toe, with things you wouldn't even think you'd need, like a quad microphone setup, Bluetooth powered page turn pen, and global handwriting so you can take notes over the menu and everything else. With an English operating system, Android 11 at your disposal, and the ability to sideload content in, the sky and the stars above are truly the limit for this mega e-note. For GoodyReader.com, this is Peter.